Hey guys, welcome to a WoW Weekly with Myst. For this week, we have Time Walking, Mist of Pandaria is the weekly. PvP Brawl will be Warsong Scramble, and Darkmoon Fair will start up on Sunday. And now for the good stuff, we also have Mythic Plus starting up. This right here is the Season 3 mount you can obtain. We also have the PvP Season 3 starting up. This right here is the Glad mount that you can get if you have a good enough group to drag you far enough for that. And here are the Alliance and Horde Vicious War Croakers. And this one is your regular percentage. Just win some rated arena and rated battlegrounds to get this one. Also, we have the raid that is coming out. It's just going to be the first 8 bosses, and it'll be normal and heroic. As for mythic mode, that will open up on March 8th. And at that point, we should see all of the bosses. As for some mounts here, there's going to be 2 mounts available through this raid. So the first one is your Glory of Sepulcher Raider achievement. And upon completing that, you get the Shimmering Aura Lid, which is this guy right here. And then we also have the AOTC mount. This is for clearing the final boss on at least heroic mode for the raid. And this is the Carsonized Zerith Steed. I know there's a lot of people out there that just like to do LFR, and for those of you, you will not see this raid available to you until March 8th. That is when the first wing will come out. This is the schedule right here. You will need an item level of 220 to queue into that wing, so maybe use this week to get your item level up to that if it's not. And then you will be ready to hit up LFR when it comes out. And for those that intend on rating this on normal, heroic, and maybe even mythic, this is the schedule here. So this week we have the first 8 bosses for normal and heroic. And then next week, March 8th, we will have all bosses available as well as mythic difficulty. Right here is the item levels for everything. There is teardrops, of course. Anduin drops a helm. Lords of Dread drop shoulders. Rigelin drops a chest. Lehuvim drops hands. And Halendros drops pants. For those interested, I will have a link in the description. You can go check that out. It will be a link for all tier set bonuses to all the classes. Also, with the raid releasing and M+ and all that, there is some changes to the Great Vault that will go into effect on maintenance tomorrow. So basically, the raid vault, the first raid is usually 3 bosses. It's going to be now 2 bosses that you need. The second raid vault usually requires 6 bosses. It's going to be 5. And the third raid vault usually is 9. It's going to be 8. So 1 less boss required for your vault. For Mythic Plus and the PvP vaults, the third Mythic Plus vault usually requires 10 dungeons. It's going to now require 8. The third PvP vault that usually requires 6250 for honor, it is now going to only require 5500. One thing I'd like to add on the topic of honor is that they have confirmed that honor will not reset at the start of Season 3. And it will carry over, and that is intended. So if you see a carryover, it's not a bug, it is intended. Another thing worth noting is the patterns within Patterns Zerith Mortis quest. This week anyway, it was a twice weekly quest. When maintenance occurs tomorrow, this will become a weekly quest. I personally didn't care whether it was weekly or twice weekly. To me, it just seemed like it was no different than when you do your Covenant Assault quests. Those run, a few days, and if you don't do it, oh well. If you do, cool. I didn't really care either or whether they changed this or not. So, but weekly probably helps, maybe casuals be able to have the time to be able to get it done. 3 days can be a pretty short time if you don't play a whole lot. Now, just a little side note on the topic of this quest. Highly suggest you do it. Of course, things might change, so the rewards may change numbers when it becomes a weekly quest. But right now, as a twice weekly, this sucker is getting you like 500 rep with the Enlightened, which is really good because rares only get you 10, so your rep gain is kind of crap everywhere else when it comes to the Enlightened. And I've been averaging around 70 to 80 for the ciphers of the first one currency, and Cosmic Flux, I can't remember what I've been getting, but I imagine probably around 70 to 100. And yeah, so you get some pretty good rewards, plus the cash that you could potentially get a piece of loot in. So highly suggest doing this. I am wondering if this sucker's gonna now grant us 1,000 rep, because that would make the most sense. That's more or less what we got through this week by doing it twice, 500 each time. So I would hope that the rewards for this new weekly quest would be 1,000 rep, maybe like 150 at minimum for ciphers, and 150 cosmic, somewhere around there. That would be nice to see. Cosmic Flux seems to drop everywhere, so I'm not too concerned with how much Cosmic Flux I get right now. There's just so many different ways you can get it. But the ciphers is a big thing for me, because most of those rares and dailies are only giving you like 2 to 5. So I like doing this quest for the ciphers for sure. One thing we discovered this week when the patch first dropped was that people were gaining a good chunk of renown. I didn't notice because I do everything on my main who's max renown, but I did have friends telling me that they were getting lots. So just off of doing the first few chapters, which is available right now, you can get a good at least 13 renown. So if you are behind in renown, doing these chapters will definitely get you up there. And you're going to want them done anyway, so it's a win-win situation. One other thing I'd like to add here is that flying has been postponed. So we were supposed to have it on week 3. We're now having it on week 4. This is because, like, in the final weeks of the PTR, the campaign A Means to an End was swapped. I'm guessing maybe around that time they were thinking that they were going to do another week where it was more than one chapter. Because if we're not going to get it till week 4, then that means that, well, we already did the first 3 chapters. So that would mean one more chapter for next week, and then one for week 3, and then one for week 4. So it does seem like we're getting one chapter per week after our week we've already done of 3 chapters. So this change has upset some people, like it always does. Rule number 1 for Blizzard anyway is that if you want to piss off the community, there's an easy way to do it, and it's called changing flying. You change flight, and that is most people's trigger points, and that is how you piss off the players, right? And from their standpoint, that must be an easy way to do it, because people get real mad when flight is changed. Me personally, I was impressed that we were getting flight to begin with. Now that I'm in the patch, I'm seeing that flight is needed, but the thing is, they caused that. If they had just put stuff kind of more in range for people, then no one would feel like they need flight and they wouldn't be in such a rush to get it, you know? I'm not saying that flight shouldn't exist in Zerith Mortis. Of course it should. If there's any zone, there should be flight. It is Zerith Mortis because there are treasures that are tough to get to. But, you know, they could have not made those treasures tough to get to. Me personally, I've never been against these achievements for these flights because they are new areas. You know, one thing I have really disliked with Blizzard is where they take something from us and then give it back. And with flight, there's like a silver lining with that, because while you can say that with flight, in a sense you can't, because when you're gaining flight, you're gaining it for a new expansion, which is new content. So obviously you have never gotten that flight for that content before. So in a sense, they're not ripping something from you and then giving it back because you never earned it to begin with because it's a new expansion, right? It's not like when you learn flight, it says you can fly everywhere. You know, like when it comes to the new expansions, you have to learn them for each expansion. And so I've never really cared about that. I've gotten used to it over the years. They should just stop telling us when things are going to happen. Because obviously you can see a means to an end is the final campaign chapter. Why did they not just announce that you will have flight upon completing the final campaign chapter? That way, no one's expecting it on a certain week, and they know exactly when they're gonna get it. And yeah, if they haven't done that chapter, they know they're not getting flayed. Like, yeah, I just, you know, honestly, even them extending to week 4 is still earlier than I thought, because I thought we were going to be doing 1 chapter per week here. So I thought flying was going to take 6 weeks. So it's still earlier than I thought. So, but, you know, I try to look at it for people that don't play as much as I do. And I guess it would be a pain. You know, but the funny part is those aren't the people complaining. To end off this topic, I'd just like to say, you know, they should go back to their old ways and just put it on a vendor. All in all, flight is easy to get anyway. Like, this is the achievement. It's all doable right now, except for a means to an end. So, you know, they've already made flight a lot easier than they have in the past, but I do think that maybe it's time to go back to the old ways. They've been making some decent changes lately, and I think maybe that is a change that should also come into effect, where we go back to visiting a trainer, learning flight, and then you're just done, right? The only problem is they are so stuck in their ways now that visiting a trainer and learning flight would still probably have a prereq behind it, you know, like have the campaign completed, you know? So, yeah, a part of me wants them to go back to those ways, but then a part of me also knows that it would be no different. It's kind of like how, you know, we supposedly don't have a Pathfinder in Shadowlands, but yet this is the second time we're having to do a full-blown achievement of multiple things to get flight. That sounds like Pathfinder to me. You know, the only difference is they're not calling it Pathfinder. So Blizzard has finally decided to add a character transfer option in bundles. Now, it takes no genius to know that this has to do with the faction stuff. So while there is a sale that's going on right now and it only lasts till March 8th, that doesn't mean that you have to wait for a sale again to get a bundle thing. There's been a lot of people complaining about how the sale ends on the 8th. I am impressed enough that they have a bundle, and technically even that 3 for $50 is a deal right now, at regular price. Like, they've already exceeded my expectations by just offering the bundles at regular price. I'm personally happy with where my characters are right now. And yeah, so I don't feel like I need to use this, but I like that it's there for maybe that odd time that I might one day use that 3 for $50 because I have allied characters now, and I'm a person that doesn't like to have 2 of the same class on one server, so one day I might move them to another server, who knows. So it's nice to know I'll have the option down the road. Really good deal, that 8 for $80. You're getting it for $10. So if you are a person that wants to move a shit ton of characters to a friend's server or wherever your heart desires, I guess, then I would jump on this. That's a really good deal, 8 for $80. If you're broke or whatever, you're not hooped. The 6 for $80 is a good deal too. And that's regular price. That will always be there. I know in the comments there was a lot of people upset that this is a limited time thing. Personally, I don't see why you would be shocked about that. They just announced cross-faction coming in the next patch. And this is a sale, and if you've been playing WoW long enough, you know that the minute a good sale happens, you jump on that shit, because it could be years before you see anything that good again. It's kind of like mount sales typically only happen Christmas time, and server transfer sales, we have waited years between some of those sales. So honestly, if you're looking to even transfer some characters, you might as well do it, because there's no way they're gonna put a sale up when the faction thing goes through. That it's stupid. It's stupid business practice. Doesn't matter if you like them or not, or if you think they're greedy fucks or not. It's just good business practice to not have sale at that time, because people are going to transfer anyway. Just take advantage of it. If you have even a remote thought that you want to transfer some characters to a friend's server, take advantage of it. You're basically, with this sale, you're getting 2 for free. Like, if you're thinking you want to do it in the next patch, just do it now, because they probably will not put a sale up in the next patch. They're honestly being super smart right now, because I know exactly how they're thinking with this. They're thinking, okay, let's put up a sale. We'll make it limited. That way later on, when we don't do a sale at the time everyone wants us doing a sale, they can't tell us that we didn't give them a chance, because we did one before when they knew about the cross faction and they didn't take advantage of it, so that's their problem. And that is exactly probably how this is gonna all pan out. And, you can't really blame them too much for that, because, like I said, it's good business practice to not do a sale at high demand. It's kind of like, let's take Elden Ring right now. Elden Ring's pretty hot right now. You don't see that game on sale, right? Why would they put that game on sale when so many people are gonna buy it for full price? Same fucking deal. Another thing we discovered this week is that there is some new trading restrictions in 9.2. Legendary equipment no longer contributes to unlocking the highest item level for that item slot for trading, and class set items cannot be traded until after earning a soulbound set item of equivalent or higher item level in the item slot. So basically what that means is you can't craft a 291 legendary in every slot when it unlocks and be able to trade any item in the game. The tier set change essentially ensures the players are only able to trade tier once they have tier in that slot already. So one thing that I kind of giggled at was the little ban wave that happened just before the servers went back up on Tuesday. So basically this has to do with the Mage Tower. So there was a bunch of suspended accounts and removed items. And I guess it was targeting players who had their accounts piloted through the Mage Tower. So account sharing, basically. So pretty much their account got suspended, and then once the ban is lifted, they have their rewards removed from the Mage Tower stuff. I say kudos. You know, I don't think anyone should be cheating their way through the Mage Tower. Now, the biggest reason this one made me laugh is because it's one thing for you to, like, buy a boost or something, but it's a complete other to hand over your info and have someone else in control of your account. That is basically the number one tip that Blizzard puts on the loading screen, is to never share your account. And there is a good reason for that. So yeah, that's what I thought was crazy, how someone could want something so bad that is just an item in a game, might I remind people here, and want it so bad that they give up their security for it. One little side thing that I'd like to add into this video for you guys that are out in Zerith Mortis and all, is that there's a couple of things you can use to make your time a little easier in there. So let's start with traveling. So there's gun shoes that you can use. Those work in Zerith Mortis. Also, you have your Goblin Glider kit. And the Korthia whistle. This is footage of the Korthia whistle. The whistle itself, you get out in Korthia. It's from a dislodged nest. That whistle is awesome. I really like that whistle. I'd never really used it before. So you could just kind of alternate using the whistle, and then when that's on cooldown, use your gun shoes, and yeah, to get around places faster so you make it in time for the rares. Personally, what I do, and this is probably why I laugh whenever people are in chat saying, "Oh, you bastards, you didn't wait for me," right? But what I do is I make sure I'm in front of the rare before I even join a group. Yeah. These are good if you're seeing people shout out the rares like on your server without being grouped. But if you're gonna group for stuff, be at the rare. Never expect that rare is at full health. Another thing I wanted to add that I discovered in Haven is that over here, which is to the left of the flight area, is your conduits. So you can, check out what conduits or add conduits to it. And then when you just kind of go right over to the other side, which is the pathway leading up to the portal going into Oribos, there is an Anima deposit center there. So you can just deposit your Anima. I have noticed that the Anima is just one type in Zerith Mortis, which is what I was hoping for in Shadowlands. I hate that all this Anima is like different names, so it's, taking up so much space. So that's the nice part of Zerith Mortis, is that it seems to be all the same name, which means it's stacking together in one spot in your inventory. Okay, so accomplishments. The first accomplishment I did was on Thursday. I decided I didn't want to put in the Black Temple run into stream because I was gonna do a video involving Black Temple. And so I chose to do it off stream, and I got the second glaives. And at first I was freaking out because it was only showing me that I had one, and then I realized that they don't count as, even although they're exactly the same item, and even although you'd have two of them, they count as separate. So it kept saying I only had one, but then the other one would say I only had one of those too. So yeah, they're somehow different but yet the same. So I got that, and that was one of my big goals because the next Time Walking BC is approaching in a couple of months, and that was kind of my goal. I had a goal of within 2 months get the glaives on the Demon Hunter, and then when Time Walking BC rolls back around, I'm gonna go on my Druid. I don't want to drag my Demon Hunter in there because my Demon Hunter has like low DPS, very much an alt, but you don't have to do it on the same character, so I'm gonna drag my Druid into Black Temple Time Walking, and then that will get me the permanent transmog of those weapons. So yeah. But the big part was that the requirement to get that is that you already have it on a character. So I was really happy to get that out of the way. Now my Demon Hunter can go farm, a mount instead of a transmog. The second thing that I accomplished was this mount. So this is the Deep Star Auralid. I did a video on it, so I will link it at the end of this video for those of you that want to try to go after it. It involves some fishing. I wasn't gonna do it. I honestly thought the quest that you get in Haven every day, that would be my first mount, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I felt like I should be in Zerith Mortis, so I just started fishing. I got the item in a decent amount of time, and I just decided to continue it. So, got this mount. So this is my first mount of 9.2. Also, as you're seeing in the footage right now, I did also do some Jailer's Gauntlet. I haven't done all 4 layers yet, but I have done the first 2. So this is footage of the layer 1. Layer 2 was done on stream during my last stream. And then layer 3 and 4, I don't know when I'm gonna do them, but it'll be soon, And yeah, so I got the pet and the Hearthstone. Funny part, speaking of Jailer's Gauntlet, is that I found this boss to be like twice as bad as the layer 2 boss. So I thought that was kind of interesting how the layer 2 boss seemed like such a cinch. And this one was pretty good too, but there was definitely more shit going on. And that's been my week in WoW. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having fun in the patch. And we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.